Assalamu alaikum peeps. Welcome and thank you for joining me on our first ever podcast on single Muslim peeps. My name is Taz and I'll be hosting and guiding you through this very exciting and new journey, starting off the Muslim Single Peeps podcast. I'll be giving you a little bit of a glimpse in terms of what the purpose of the podcast is going to be about and what is to come, inshallah. Now, before I start this off, I just want to apologise for any background noise. It is currently raining extremely heavily here in the UK. It's a bit of a storm at the moment, so if you hear anything, I do apologise in advance for that. So a little bit of background about myself and just giving you an idea in terms of how this whole thing started and the purpose as to why I'm doing this podcast in the first place. So it all started with my own journey in trying to find a potential. I had been looking for a number of years, basically, trying to find somebody. And although I was receiving potential sort of offers in real life through family and friends and so on, I still felt that something was kind of lacking a little bit. These guys that I met, don't get me wrong, they're absolutely amazing. They're, absolutely great people. But, on paper, things seemed to go really, really well. And, they seemed legit and we seemed compatible. But in real life and after speaking to them and so on, it just felt like something was lacking. At a point where I had exhausted family and friends connections. It was simple as that. Everybody has tried to help me out. My parents have tried to help me out with the connections that they have, albeit they, we're quite a small family and we do keep our connections in a very sort of small circle. So that did not really help in terms of finding loads of potentials. My friends have made suggestions. They've been an absolute fantastic support for myself. But yeah, it did get to a point where I was like, okay, so I've exhausted everything. Where do I actually go from here? Because as far as my friends and family, everybody has sort of gone via the organic or traditional route. And what I mean by organic is literally just meeting somebody in university or at work or a friend of a friend, etc. And the traditional route is via the arranged marriage route. So I thought, okay, I'm not going to get any younger, and every one of my friends was getting married, and it was just that dreaded feeling of, okay, I need to get a move on, I need to be proactive and do something about this. So I knew that I had to venture out and basically search on my own. And I did what anybody does when looking for an answer on this modern tech era, and you guessed it, I looked online. And my friends have been literally telling me to look online for a while, but it just sort of never really appealed to me. It just didn't seem organic. I always envisioned meeting somebody in a organic manner, be it at work or just anywhere, and just getting to know them and getting the families involved, etc. And it just never sort of happened. And it does seem that there is a lot of single men and women out there, young and on the older spectrum. And they're going through the same struggles. A few apps, and to my surprise, there seem to be quite a few Muslim marriage or so-called Muslim dating sites or apps. And I hate the word dating because obviously in an Islamic manner, we don't do dating. We know that it's haram. We should definitely avoid it at all costs because it can lead to zina. And we've been told, by Allah and the Prophet teachings that we should avoid anything that will bring us even closer to zina. So I just wanted to put that out there, right? There were even Facebook groups that I came across. I've heard of WhatsApp anti-groups as well. But as I said, my connection is very, very, limited. So there was no way of me tapping into that, and I didn't really know how to go about it. So I found two apps that were quite appealing to myself, and they had the most hits. I don't really want to mention any names right now, but I'm sure you guys can figure out which ones, at least one of them. but the other one is obsolete. It doesn't exist anymore. So yeah, signed up. It seems relatively easy. I filled out my bio, and I did put a lot of effort and a lot of time into my bio, because I was quite naive and I thought everybody will be going through the profiles properly and going through, you know, every word and every letter in the bio. And yeah, I was completely and utterly wrong. As some of you may know who have used these apps, some people unfortunately don't read the bios. They just sort of swipe everybody. So yeah, at the time I didn't tell my parents. I felt that they wouldn't understand. And that's probably because there's a lot of stigma attached to anything online related, especially when it comes to things like marriage, which is a huge thing. And people think, you know, marriage happens either organically in terms of getting to know people via connections, etc., or via the arranged marriage route. So this was very, very new at the time. And I just felt like I couldn't really explain it to my parents in a way where they would understand it and be on board. Which, to be honest, was a huge mistake, especially at the beginning of my search, because I was so inexperienced. I had no idea what to expect, and I just sort of went in blind. I did confide in some of my close friends. It felt somewhat wrong, but I've convinced myself that, okay, I'm an adult, I've got good intentions, my intentions are pure, I should go ahead and do this, and, you know, my friends will have my back, etc. But the fact of the matter is, you should always have your parents involved. Whether they like you being on these apps or not, you should definitely get them involved, because they are going to be your support system. They are going to be looking out for you. They have your best interest at heart. And Islamically speaking, you should kind of get a wali involved, be it your dad, your brother, your mom, anybody, you know. But I kind of went around it the wrong way, and I just basically confided in some of my friends, and that seemed to be okay, or I thought it was okay at the time. So I left the apps for a day, you know, after filling out all the bio information, uploading some pictures, and I just sort of left it there. I wasn't really expecting any matches or anything like that, because I thought, you know, it'll take time, because things take time, right? So I had a look on the apps after a day. I did check them, and I was quite overwhelmed. I really was quite overwhelmed, because the sheer amount of matches was absolutely crazy. And I mean crazy. You know, I just couldn't keep up with them. I didn't really know where to start. I wasn't quite sure, you know, how to initiate the conversations, you know, with people that I did eventually match with. There was a lot of unknown territory out there, and I just had no idea how to go about it, or I had very limited information. So, again, I did what anybody does nowadays, and I literally Googled it. I looked into, you know, Muslim dating apps, Muslim marriage apps, advice, experiences, and so on. And there wasn't a lot of information out there, unfortunately. I did come across a few reviews about the navigation of the apps themselves, but not so much about the quality of the apps. And I also came across some vlogs by, I'm not going to mention any names, but some vloggers who went into, you know, their own experiences and so on. But I just felt like it didn't quite sit well with me. And there were some things that I didn't quite agree with from an Islamic point of view. But, you know, that's all the information that was out there at the time. And yeah, I was quite surprised by the lack of information. And to my surprise, there was a lot of information out there for non-Muslims. That's for sure. There was a heck of a lot of content out there. There was even dating gurus, relationship advice, and all, everything you can think of, but it wasn't in an Islamic setting. Excuse me. It was directed at the non-Muslims in terms of how to, navigate through these apps, and, how to hook a guy, so-called hook a guy, whatever the hell that means, and how to keep him interested and what to do if he's not interested and how to get him back. And it was just like a complete and utter mess to me anyway. And I just thought, I can't relate to this. How can I mold this information into something that would be relevant to, the Muslim boy or girl in today's age, in 2017, 18, 19, whenever it was that I was looking. I just couldn't mold that information into something that would, benefit me. And it just seemed like it was completely pointless, to be honest with you. There was a lot of playing mind games, nothing really leading to a substantial, serious relationship, which in our eyes, in a Muslim setting, would be marriage, because that's what we're there for on these apps. It was mainly just about haram relationships and all that kind of stuff, and moving in together and yada yada. So I thought about why that could be, and I remembered my own process and lack of parental involvement. No one in the Muslim community talks about online marriage apps because they are taboo. Like most serious topics out there, unfortunately, it is taboo. We are, we're not very transparent, unfortunately, in terms of speaking about these taboo subjects, such as, online dating, or, there's a whole load of taboo subjects within our community, and nobody really wants to talk about it. Saying that, it does seem like things are shifting. Alhamdulillah, for the better, because, due to, social media, it's a lot easier to access, certain muftis and, Islamic scholars, etc., and get in touch with them, and it'll be, there on Twitter, on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. So things are improving, but I just felt like there wasn't enough information out there. All that there was is relationships are haram, end of story. And yes, they are 100% haram. I know that, that everybody, who's seriously taking their religion seriously knows that. There's no arguing about that. Of course, it's wrong and it's haram. But the point is, these apps do exist and people are going on them. We like it or not, it's happening. And just as a side disclaimer, guys, please, anything I say, take with a pinch of salt, because I'm here literally putting out my own experiences and my own stories out there in terms of, what I went through while navigating these apps and the type of people I came across and what I did wrong, what I did right, etc. But I'm not a mufti. I am not an Islamic scholar. Everything I say is just from me. Inshallah, anything that's good will be from Allah. Inshallah, and anything that's bad will be from myself and the shaitan. And, please refute that, and I'll be more than happy to discuss certain things that I may have said, etc., because this is the point of this podcast, guys. I want to put that content out there as a platform for you guys to jump on board and to give your own experiences and your own advice to try and help people out there. Okay, that's the reason why I want to do this, basically. So it's so I came to the realization that, okay, the support that I needed online wasn't there. So I turned to my friends, but unfortunately, most of them weren't using the apps. Wow, it's really windy out there. I do apologize for any background noise. So yeah, I turned to my friends, and like I said, most of them did not use these apps. Mashallah, most of my friends are married. Some of them have used the apps, but, in a very, very short period of time. One of my close friends downloaded the app. I think she was on it for less than a week and deleted it. This is talking 12 years ago now, probably. So yeah, in terms of friend support, they could only support me as friends, but they can't really give me advice in terms of, well, they can advise me, but they can't really delve into too much in terms of the apps, because they don't really have that much experience with them. So I felt a little bit lost, and I thought, okay, so I've been thinking about going on these apps for a while, right? So what's the worst that can happen? I was just going to talk to people online, see where it goes, and, just learn along the way, pick things up. And that's what I did. And that's why I'm here talking to you guys. It's the reason why I reached out to people to aid them in whatever way I could, whether it's my real life friends, whether it's people that I've spoken to online on platforms such as Reddit. It's because the thought of men and women, especially young people who are inexperienced, signing up to these apps, it just filled me with dread. It really, really did. And like it or not, these apps are becoming more and more popular, especially with the current COVID situation. I'd imagine they're absolutely thriving right now. Everybody's sort of, especially during the lockdown, everybody was probably sitting at home just swiping right and left just for the sake of it and to talk to people out of boredom. I actually deleted the apps before the lockdown because I could just see what was about to happen, and I was like, nope, thank you, nope. So I basically I just want to share my experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to help people and just help them navigate through the apps, helping with their profiles, giving them advice, just talking about expectations versus reality, talking about red flags, talking about green flags, which not many people talk about, and just that kind of thing, and give you guys a chance to communicate with myself and with each other and pull as much experiences and information and advice together, inshallah, to help and aid people. I appreciate that there is that kind of thing online already, but there aren't many podcasts out there, and not everybody has the time or the patience, like myself, to kind of like troll through loads of stories online, and which I did, to be fair. I did initially, I looked on that, but I just feel like a podcast, it's just easier, whether you're driving in the car or you're at the gym working out. You could just sort of plug your headphones on, listen. Maybe you can give me something to talk about, or maybe you could give us something to help us learn something we may not have even thought about. So I want you guys to give your input in terms of what type of content you'd like to see on this platform, and share your stories, ask questions, ask advice. This platform isn't solely about online apps. It is about the search as a whole, searching as a whole, whether it's the traditional means, the apps, or something, organic, so-called organic way of meeting people. So feel free to get in touch, and inshallah, exciting things are going to happen. I do have a few ideas in terms of co-hosting with some of my close friends who are married, who have been through their own journey in terms of marriage and finding potentials and their own struggles, inshallah. And I'd also be willing to co-host with you guys, inshallah. That would be absolutely brilliant, just to co-host with you guys and just talk about your experiences, your expectations, what you went through, all of that kind of exciting stuff. So at this moment in time, there's currently 2 ways you can get in touch with me. One is via Reddit. So if you go into Reddit and type in r/single Muslim peeps with an S at the end, you can drop me a message there, or you can also contact me via email, which is singlemuslimpeeps@yahoo.com. There's no spaces between that, by the way. There'll be other ways to get in touch soon, inshallah. So watch out for those to come in the next podcast. And if this doesn't seem like ultra professional, we are going through a pandemic right now, and things are a little bit difficult. But inshallah, I've got some amazing ideas coming up, and in terms of giving you the best high quality content out there, inshallah. So I hope you have an amazing day. Do take care, peeps. Signing out, your sister Taz. Salam. Bye.